acting high and mighty over a measly income. Even if my mother-in-law doesn't pay the house loan, we have more than enough money.
That's right. If you're so confident, you don't need to pay. But if that's the case, get out of the house. I'm not planning on providing for just any freeloader.
How dare he call his own mother a freeloader? There's no need to endure such statements. Really, I'd be delighted, I purposely responded with a joyful tone. A month had passed since I moved out of my eldest son's house, and as I was working in my room, a call came from my eldest son.
What the hell is this all about?
I am Hirely, 78 years old. I lost my beloved husband 10 years ago, and now I live with my eldest son and his wife. They do not have any children. Because of this, they have a lot of financial freedom, has led them to have a tendency to buy whatever they want without worrying about the price. It was not so noticeable when my husband was alive, but since his death, my son's reckless spending has become more prominent, and he doesn't listen to my advice at all. One day, my son and his wife suggested, "Why don't we remodel the house?" I felt that the house was getting old, and thought it would be a good idea to remodel the plumbing, so I agreed to the proposal. However, they had many demands, and by the time I realized it, it had become a quite extensive remodeling plan. The detail is that they plan to make the toilet, bath, and kitchen separately and convert the house into a complete duplex. We don't need to go that far. I had never seen my daughter-in-law cooking in the kitchen since we started living together. I even do all the cleaning, from the rooms to the toilet and bath. Even if we have two kitchens, I still will be responsible for preparing meals, and I can't imagine them cleaning the toilet or bath. I told my opinion to them, but my daughter-in-law claimed, "If we have separate spaces, I'll take care of the housework." I wonder if it makes sense to put so much money into a renovation, but once they've said something, they don't listen. Considering that I'll be living with them for a long time in the future, I feel heavy-hearted about the possibility of them grumbling about what I said this time. And thus, we decided to proceed with the duplex renovation, as initially planned.
Now we finally won't have to hear nagging from mother-in-law.
Living with parents is troublesome after all. The stress might be less with a duplex.
They were having such disrespectful conversations, even when I was nearby, clearly enjoying themselves. And the duplex was completed as planned. Since there are no kids and just the three of us, including me, the house feels unnecessarily spacious. By the way, my daughter-in-law, who had boasted about doing the housework and cooking, hasn't shown any signs of doing so even after a week. What is more, when it's time for meals, they come downstairs and demand food as if it's their right. And as expected, they don't clean. When I'm cleaning downstairs, they ask me to clean upstairs while I'm at it. My daughter-in-law just shops online, paying no mind to me doing chores around her, and doesn't even attempt to help. One day, amidst these daily occurrences, my son suggested, "I'll cover the living expenses, so I want you to pay the loan for this house." The house is in my son's name, and as a result of their various demands during this renovation, the loan amount has to $150,000 reached. I work from home as a writer, but if I take on the responsibility of covering the entire monthly loan, most of my income would disappear in repayments. However, I decided to agree to this request because it's true that I'm living here and I have some savings from before. I wanted my eldest son and his wife to start saving money little by little, even though I was paying the house loan, but my wishes were not reached, and the couple seemed to spend all their income on shopping, not saving any money at all. As he works for a large corporation, When I cautioned him about his wasteful spending, he condescendingly told me, "Shut up, really. Unlike you, Mom, I make a lot of money, so I have plenty of it." His wife, by the way, is a stay-at-home wife, yet she pushes all the housework onto me. Not only does she not the laundry, she doesn't even bring it in. Even when I didn't notice the sudden rain, she politely came to tell me, "It's starting to rain, shouldn't you bring in the laundry quickly?" But without any intention to help, she quickly returned to her own room. Even when the preparation for dinner was delayed, the couple just complained, "Isn't it ready yet? I'm starving." It makes me seriously wonder why we have a two-family house. In the kitchen on the first floor, which is supposed to be for me, I cook meals for 3 people, and then the couple eat in the living room. They use the bathroom and toilet on the first floor as if it's natural. Now, it's a situation where the rooms on the second floor are just for sleeping. Despite paying a huge amount of money, $250,000 for renovation, when I look at the couple, I can't help but think, what a waste. Despite having the renovation done, you hardly use the plumbing on the second floor, right? You, Catherine, you're a housewife, so why don't you do a little bit of cooking, laundry, and cleaning by yourself?
We're a family, so it's fine, isn't it? You're better at cooking and cleaning, right? I'm not good at it, so I'll ask you to do it for me.
Mom, I'm paying all the living expenses, so you're not in a position to complain.
Indeed, living expenses are being paid by my eldest son, John. However, I'm paying a larger amount every month as a house loan. John, I'm working at home and paying the house loan. You know, when I objected in this way, the couple laughed scornfully.
Even if you say you're working at home, your income is minimal, isn't it? The house loan is not a significant amount, so what are you bragging about?
I was left speechless by my eldest son's words, and lost the will to retort. One day, the couple came back carrying a lot of bags from high-end brands. When I asked why they bought so many high-end items, the wife said, "Because it's our wedding anniversary today, we bought everything we wanted. We've always wanted to try this. Like the rich people we see in movies and dramas, we went on a luxury shopping spree."
Like this, we need to indulge ourselves once in a while to relieve stress.
While the couple seemed to be enjoying themselves, I couldn't understand why adults over 40 would impulsively buy high-end brands without thinking ahead, just because they were stressed and admired what they saw in movies and dramas. From my perspective, I can't understand how the couple use their money. No matter how much I warn them, they'll probably retort, "It's my earned money. I can use it to whatever I want." Not only that, they treat me, who is paying the house loan, like a nuisance. The thought of continuing to live with these people makes me feel sick. In the past, my second son and his wife suggested living together after seeing the attitude of the couple, but their 2 junior high school children are facing exams, and I'm sure it would be a bother if I live with them now. I have a stable monthly income and a certain amount of savings. I decided to live alone, thinking that I can live without causing trouble to anyone, even if I need care in the future. Once I decided on this, my feelings became a little lighter, and I became able to let whatever the couple said pass from one ear to the other. One day, when I was thinking of going to buy some appliances for my new home, I heard a loud sound of something broke in the kitchen. When I hurried to the kitchen, there stood the wife, with fragments of a broken cup scattered at her feet.
Oh, I dropped it. I just made some tea. Oh, mother-in-law, could you clean this up for me?
She said to me as if she were talking to a maid, without any shame. "Catherine, since you're the one who broke it, shouldn't you clean it up?" As I said this, my eldest son interjected.
Mom, you're always doing the housework, so don't complain about such a thing. It's thanks to my income that you can live in this house, right?
My eldest son's words got the approval of his wife, and I couldn't help but wonder who could say such a thing. I'm the one who's been paying the home loan and doing all the household chores, and yet, my eldest son and his wife can afford to shop recklessly. It seems like you've forgotten, but I'm the one paying the home loan, you know.
You're saying that again? Acting all high and mighty over a bit of income? Mom, you claim to pay the home loan, but John works for a huge corporation, you know? Even if you don't pay the home loan, we have enough money.
Exactly. If you're so confident, you don't have to pay. But if that's the case, then get out of the house. I have no intention of supporting a mere freeloader.
How dare they call their own mother a freeloader? There's no need to put up with this. Really, I'd be happy to, I replied, feigning joy. It's very lucky for them to tell me to leave. As the saying goes, strike while the iron is hot, let's take immediate action. I stopped paying the loan as they wished, packed my belongings, and moved to the apartment I had contracted within a week. When I was leaving the house, John said, "If you sincerely apologize, I wouldn't mind forgiving you, but it's nonsense for me to apologize. No, thank you. To think of not seeing your faces makes me feel refreshed."
What? If you beg me to stay later, it's too late.
That day will never come, so don't worry. Well, do your best from now on. Feeling exhilarated, I left the house. When I later informed my second son and his wife over the phone, they were worried, and even my grandchildren said, "You should live with us." But I had already arranged my new place, made the contract, and was looking forward to living alone for the first time in a long while, so I just thanked them for their sentiment. Writing and living solely for myself is quite exciting. Then, about a month after I moved out of John and his wife's house, I was free from all the stress and was thoroughly enjoying living alone. One day, while working in my room, I got a call from John.
Mom, what's the meaning of this?
Yes, what is it?
There's a deduction of $2,000 for loan payments.
Huh, so what?
Just because we renovated, why is the monthly loan so high? This is absurd.
I had thought that John underestimated the amount of the home loan. Despite graduating from a good university and working for a large corporation, he couldn't understand such a simple thing. I was astounded. Of course, the loan isn't going to be cheap after such a large-scale renovation of the entire house. He probably looked down on my income and thought it was an amount that could be paid off easily. Not usually caring about the price of things is causing problems. Despite my opposition, my eldest son and his wife had invested so much into nearly a full renovation. It was only natural that the cost was high. When I told him the total cost of the renovation, he said,
"What? That much? Wait a second, how has Mom been paying for this all this time? There's no way she could afford it on her income. Could it be from Dad's insurance, money or something?"
"Ha ha ha, no way, John. How much do you think I earn?"
You only work a bit at home, so at most, you're making $150 to $200, right?
You know, I earn enough to make the monthly house payments.
Huh?
I never told my eldest son and his wife anything about my job or income. I figured if they knew, they'd just try to make me cover their living expenses too, and their spending would only increase even more. Even so, only $150 to $200 a month.
That can't be. If the house loan is that high, we can't afford living expenses.
John, you work for a big company. Your salary is good, isn't it? If you stop spending like you used to and live frugally, can't you manage?
I also have credit card payments. It's impossible.
Then, you should just sell everything you've bought so far, You were buying a lot of high-end brands just the other day. Sell all of that, live frugally, and gradually pay off your debt.
What are you saying now? You're acting so high and mighty. Why didn't you say this before? You're my mother.
It's shameful for a grown man over 40 to be lashing out like this. It's not like I didn't warn him, but he kept on shopping.
Where are you living right now, Mom? You're probably at my brother's place, right?
No, that's not the case. I've rented a room in an apartment, so I'm living freely there.
Don't tell me. You knew we were going toned up like this, and you've been preparing from before.
What are you talking about? You guys told me to leave, didn't you? You said you'd stop paying the house loan, that your income was enough to handle the loan and living expenses. Are you going to blame me for that? After a silence, my eldest son asked if I would consider living together again. Why would I want to live together again after I've become able to live freely on my own? There's no way I'm doing that, right? I don't want to pay the house loan and do all the chores again. Seemingly left speechless by my firm refusal, my eldest son didn't have a response. A few weeks later, one day, a call came from my daughter-in-law.
Mother-in-law. With just the two of us, this house is too big. It's lonely without you. Please come back.
She said in a voice so sweet it was unlike anything I'd heard from her before. I couldn't help but think, if you just honestly say what's really going on, there's no need to lie so blatantly. John told you about my income and the house loan, didn't he? No matter what you say, I have no intention of coming back. You two need to live frugally. I've already told this to John too.
It's too late. We've already made a lot of purchases on credit. It's lonely living alone in a small room, isn't it, mother-in-law? If we live together again, it'll be a win-win, won't it?
My room is big enough for living alone, and sadly, I'm not lonely at all. I'm able to prepare my own meals, and without anyone to nag or complain, I can live comfortably. If I were with you guys, I would have to prepare meals for 3 people, do everyone's laundry and cleaning, and I would probably be forced to pay the house loan again.
That's okay. I will do the chores. Just like you said, we will take care of our own things.
No. Before the renovation, you said the same thing, didn't you? I'm not going to fall for the same trick again. With that, I hung up. My eldest son and his wife called me many times after that, but no matter what they said, I had no intention of returning to that house. I knew that if I did, I would just end up in the same situation, and knowing my income now, there was no doubt they were relying on my money. Several months passed, and my eldest son called me with a voice that sounded even more desperate than before.
Mom, if you don't come back, we'll have to sell this house we worked so hard to renovate.
Even if you tell me that now, all I can think of is oh really, well, why don't you sell it? There's hardly any memories left of my husband and I, since we had fully renovated it so much. A month after I said well, that's a shame, it seems the eldest son's couple finally came to their senses and decided to sell the house reluctantly. And then they both complained to me, saying this wouldn't have happened if you had come back. It's all your fault. They put the house up for sale, but it didn't sell for the amount they hoped for, and only after a significant discount did they finally find a buyer. Even though they renovated, the house is quite old, and the location isn't great, so it's not a house that would sell at a high price in the first place. After selling the house, the eldest son's couple seems to have moved to a small apartment. The previous house was sold at a low price, but they still have to pay for the remaining loan. On top of that, they have credit card payments, so their debt seems to be quite large. The once close-knit eldest son's couple should cooperate and make payments little by little, but now they seem to be fighting every day because of the debt. The shared hobby of the eldest son's couple was to enjoy shopping freely, but with their current debt-ridden lifestyle, they can hardly afford such luxury. But the two of them, who are shopaholics, can't suddenly stop this hobby even though they have debts, and it seems they are secretly shopping. It seems to turn into a fight, with the sentiment of it's okay for me to shop, but I get angry when my partner does. The son said, "I earned the money, so I can use it for whatever I want." And his wife said, "We are a couple, so I also have the right to use the money." From a third-party perspective, the eldest son's couple, who are both trying to get their way, are equally to blame. Subsequently, the eldest son, who began to bring his home frustrations into the workplace and started yelling at his subordinates every day, was apparently demoted for power harassment. "She keeps contacting me, asking for help. What do you do all day?" When I asked her, she said she was just lazing around at home without working. Normally, before asking for help, you would go to work and use that income to repay your debt. Honestly, I don't care what happens to you, but if I were to give you one piece of advice, take action yourself before relying on others. I sent her my last piece of advice on life. I don't know if this resonated with her, but since then, she has stopped calling. I don't know what happened to them after that. It's been a year since I left that house where I lived with the eldest son's couple. I'm still working and living freely, but about a month ago, I started writing a feature article about a bakery for work. As I went around visiting bakeries to write the article, I became hooked on the charm of bread, and now I frequently attend bread making classes. People of my generation, and even younger people in their 30s, come to the bread making classes. Although the ages vary, it's a gathering of bread lovers, so the main topic is always about bread. We make bread together, chat about common topics while nibbling on freshly baked bread. I feel that even these ordinary moments are very happy times. The eldest son's couple used to find satisfaction in purchasing luxury brands and living in a spacious residence, but that only filled their hearts temporarily and didn't last long. In their pursuit of fulfillment, they became shopaholics, which eventually led to their significant debt. If the eldest son's couple can't find fulfillment outside of shopping, they won't be able to pay off their debt, and they won't be able to escape from their current situation. Rather than indulging in luxuries, I find much more happiness in baking bread with friends who share the same hobby, enjoying the fragrant aroma of freshly baked bread together.